In e-discovery, we deal with lots of different sources of data. Today, I want to talk about data source that you haven't thought about. Now, it's not actually a source of data that we can collect and use data from, but it is a source of data for privacy. And I usually don't talk about privacy, but I figured this would be an exception because it is a very interesting source of data, and that is sewers. Well, what kind of data can you get from a sewer? Well, during COVID-19 pandemic, researchers are sampling the sewage and they determine how much virus load is in there. And based on that, they can figure out if one city versus another has more virus present, and they can make assumptions or generalizations based on how many people are sick in one location versus the other. And if you have seen recent news, they found polio in sewage in London, and a lot of people got freaked out by that. So that's great, you'll say. We can detect potential viruses in sewage and we can take appropriate actions early on before tons of people are in a hospital. But the other thing we can do is find out what drugs are people using. And they don't have to be illegal drugs, they could be any drugs. And we can find traces of them in sewage, and now we can start figuring other things out. Maybe in one city people use certain drug more than in the other city. And once we figure out cities, we can start going up the stream and start narrowing things down by neighborhoods. So now we can determine, okay, well, this neighborhood uses more of these drugs, and this neighborhood uses more of some other drugs. And if they're illegal drugs, maybe we could decide that more police presence is needed in this area or in some other area. But now we can start sampling sewage for prescription medication, and we can start figuring out, well, this neighborhood uses this and this neighborhood uses that, and we can sell that information to advertisers who could try to advertise, competing drug, because they know most of the area here is using, drug A, and they're trying to sell drug B, So that now takes us to kind of an area where we would be uncomfortable, because now we're sharing the personal information without our consent, and people using that information to advertise to us. And as we go more and more up the stream of sewage and narrow down different locations, how long before there is a truck is driving by the street and tapping into everyone's sewers? It's outside people's property, it's publicly accessible, you can just dip, and now you can get a sample of drug use per household, right? Where is the stop there? So now it becomes a real privacy concern. Of course, this is not something that's happening right now, but this is where it could be headed in the future. So let me know what you guys think. Are sewers a privacy concern or not? And what do you think about that? How do we even stop people from sampling sewage outside your home and using it for advertisement purposes? Anyway, don't forget to follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you next time.